creatures with desires in Christ, that thereby beauty's rose might never die. But as the riper should by time decease, his tender hair might bear his memory.
But though contracted to thine own bright eyes, fixed thy light flame with self-substantial fuel, making a famine where evidence lies. The self, the foe, to thy sweet self, the cruel.
Thou that art now the world's fresh ornament, and only herald to the gaudy spring, within thine own but buries thy consent, and tender crow marks the ways in the garden. Pity the world, eat this gluten be, so eat the world's due by the grave and thee.
The sonnet's first four lines relate all of these important times. Individually, each of these four lines addresses a separate issues. Line 1 concerns procreation, especially in words with desires in Christ, which is taken to mean the word which at Shakespeare's time was the royal court and the upper classes. Line 2 hit immorality in this phrase might never die. The focal point of this line is the rose, which is beauty truth. This is important because it is a contrast of society false beauty. The internal realm of the thereby die means the line holds tightly to this idea of long-lasting truth. Line 3 presents the time of time's increasing process. The basic meaning here is that as we get older and ripe, we soon die. Note the stress of the second syllable of disease completely contrasting with the first line's increase. And line 4 combine all three concepts. A tender hair represent immorality for parents who will grow old and die. According to the sonnet's quote, procreating ensures that our names will be carried on by our children when we die. If we don't have children, however, our names will die when we do.
Thanks for the chance given to me. So in this time, I would like to explain or analysis the second quatrain from Putu, first sonnet from William Shakespeare. So, the second quatrain is aimed at a young man and concentrates on his narcissistic ways, how he eats up his own energy and is his own worst enemy. So, in line 5, the line includes a puric food, the third, and a spondy at the end, making this line the start of the second quatrain, a focal point of the sonnet. Spondys tend to bring energy and emphasize with a double stress, and in this case are a contrast to the mid-line puric, which is soft and quick. Line 6, the opening thrusty increases the tension building up from the previous line. The challenging consonant of F and I and S in certain alliterative clause make a great demand on pronunciation for the reader. Here the speaker is suggesting that this period is to wrap up in himself, burning the candle at both ends and not sharing his light with the world. Okay, line 7. Another trilogy begins in this line, which then proceeds iambiquely. Relative to some of the other lines, the seventh is clear antithesis, feminine or evident. The speaker is having a go again, implying that the ferial has so much to give the world but offers only meagre strength. Line 8, back to regular iambic pentameter for the last line of the second quatrain, full of alliteration, which provides texture and interest. There is also repetition which pushes home the message. This guy is for yours, has a sweet personality, but he is his own worst enemy. Okay, that's all about it.
The but in line 11 recalls the rose from line 2. The rose as an image of perfection underscores the immaturity of the young man, who is only a bud, still imperfect because he has not fully bloomed. The final couplet, the last two lines, reinforces the injustice of the youth's not sharing his beauty with the world. The famine that he creates for himself is furthered in the phrase, to eat the world's due, as though the youth has the responsibility and the world has the right to expect the young man to father a child. Through the sonnets, Shakespeare draws his imagery from everyday life in the world around him. In Sonnet 1, he writes of love in terms of commercial usury, the practice of charging exorbitant interest on money lent. For example, in the first line, which reads, "From fairest creatures we desire increase." Increase means not only nature's gain through procreation, but also commercial profit, an idea linked to another term, contracted in line 5. In line 12, by using the now antiquated term negading, which means hoarding, the poet implies that the youth, instead of marrying a woman and having children, is selfishly wasting his love for himself.